You have to be prepared that your new spouse can be totally different than how your ex was about money.
I like to know if someone is a penny pincher or a super spender.
Yeah. In this episode, we discuss
How do you handle finances in a remarriage?
the first thing I would recommend definitely is to be completely honest with how your bank accounts are set up.
Yes. Well, you have to know if someone has a bank account. For, how many bank accounts do you have?
Yes. You'll be surprised that if you're just honest with people, you show what you have. If you love this person and you want to remarry them, you should not feel embarrassed by whatever situation your money is in. And if they have gone through a divorce too, or any situation where they've had an extreme life-changing event, they'll probably be more understanding of how your accounts are set up.
My money's gone through many transitions.
Yeah.
You
As a lot of people's.
I had to grow in my knowledge as a person who understands money, or how to understand money, what
Right.
money means, what it, can do for you.
In my situation, my money was completely gone. My accounts were frozen. My identity was stolen. I literally was starting from scratch. And I had to come to the table with that. Look, hey, when I get paid, I cash my checks at check and cash right now till I can get my stuff together. And I didn't have shame. I mean, I had gone from A1 credit to 0 credit to like you could almost go to jail for the type of credit I had. And it was okay because I knew that if I just worked towards it, put it out in the open, let you know what my situation was, how I knew that I could get it back, the time that it would need. It just felt like this burden was off of my chest because I could just tell you without any shame.
So how do you handle finances in a remarriage?
The best thing to do definitely is to be honest about how your accounts are set up.
Yeah, I think it's just everything about it. I mean, your accounts, what you think about money,
Yes.
how you feel about money. How you think about money is different than how you feel about it. Because you can think that you know what you're doing with it, but inside you really don't feel secure in what you're doing with your funds. I didn't know how to move money around. I didn't know that you can actually move your money around. It's your money and that you can move it, such as if you owe child support or
Right.
what have you, I didn't know that you can actually move the date to make sure that you can pay.
Right. Yeah.
You can pay for that so that you're not late.
Well, you can pay it at a
you can-
window that's convenient for you. So like,
Yeah.
let's say you were paying it on the 5th of the month, right? And that was not good because you had all these bills coming in.
Everything's due.
If you pay it in the month, you could like move it to the 15th.
Yeah. So especially if you have the ability to do that where you control your money,
Right.
then you can make those changes.
Yes.
You can always move your money around. I wanted to make sure that I was never late wherever I had to pay my bills.
Right. You don't want to
So,
be.
Yeah, so I wanted to make sure that I controlled where my money went so that I wouldn't receive any late fees.
Yeah. And that's another thing. Just knowing how the person feels about money. Is it important for them to pay on time? Are they a little nonchalant about it? Are they very, like, every penny is counted?
Meticulous.
Very meticulous with it. It's good to know that with your partner. And you have to be prepared that your new spouse can be totally different than how your ex was about money.
I like to know if someone is a penny pincher or a super spender.
Yeah, that's an important thing on a tight budget.
And you need to know if you're a penny pincher or a super spender.
Yes. As far as my money, when I got a divorce, I had none. My accounts were wiped out just from the situation. And I had to literally start from square one.
Yeah.
But I did have support from family. So it wasn't as devastating, but it still was. I mean, to have money in your accounts and then to not have any is a little, like overnight is a bit much.
Well, losing money, period, to me
It's not fun.
is not fun. It's
No.
overwhelming and it's disturbing.
It's disturbing. Yes.
Yeah.
So if you meet someone and you're serious about it and they're like, hey, how are things set up with you when you get to that point? Because that's a very personal question. When you talk about the money, you just have to lay it out all on the line. And I want to say, when you're having these very serious conversations with someone and they have at least gotten to the point where, hey, I want to have a conversation with you. I want to.
Well, you want to be with that person. And the next step is, you're really talking about marriage with that person.
Right.
So we're going to talk about our resources. We're going to talk about our finances to make sure. Yeah, a serious conversation to make sure that we're on the same page.
And even if we're not on the same page, to know what we need to do and how we're going to navigate that.
And get on the same page.
Yeah, because you need to know this. And you also have to make sure that both of you agree that whatever is said, it's a safe space.
I like what you just said. You said agree. There has to be agreement when it comes to money, because if you don't have agreement, that's where a lot of problems happen.
Well, I'm just saying, even the discussion, people can get very heated about it.
Or tense.
They can get embarrassed.
Yeah.
They can get defensive. And the thing is...
Or shy.
Yeah.
There's people who shy away from funds.
Let's say we're talking and we don't get on the same page. I can't go on social media or wherever and blast you about that, because that's why I said it has to be a safe space. The conversation we're about to have is going to stay right here.
Well, hopefully you're getting involved with someone who can keep your business under wraps, keep it quiet between the two of you.
That's what you want.
Yeah, that's the kind. You want somebody who's not going to expose you or your finances.
But is discreet.
Yeah, discreet.
And, in our situation, we were not like on the same page at first about accounts, separate accounts and whatever. And it was mostly because of what I went through.
Yeah.
So for me, I was like, there is no way under the sun that we are going to have shared accounts.
Yeah.
And what did you say?
I mean, I understood why you said that before we even say anything else. My thing is, I understood exactly why you felt that way.
Right.
But for me, if I'm going to marry somebody, I want to be on the same page in my household. I want to make sure that we're sharing our accounts. And, some people would say for them, it's great. We could have separate accounts.
Right.
But for me, in my own personal life, with the wife that I would have, I want to make sure that our household is together, that we have a bond as one together in every area.
And that was a deal breaker for you.
It was a deal breaker.
You said if we don't have shared accounts
and we're
it's
not
over.
Then
no.
Yeah, I'm not. I didn't say it was over, but what I'm saying is that we would definitely have to have either more discussions or go our separate ways.
I think you said you're going to have to grow. Like, you'll have to heal from that. You'll have to grow and trust, because really it wasn't about the accounts.
It was about the trust.
Yeah, because I had shared accounts before. And so my thing was, the only way I can assure that nobody touches my money is to have nobody have access to my money. Yeah. And it was funny because I didn't have any money right then.
Yeah, no. The person with no money is talking all this stuff.
No money.
Yeah.
I was talking on the used to money.
Yeah.
The used to money I had. And so I was thinking, well, I'm going to have some money in the future. And
you don't want anybody to have access to that.
You really helped me with that, Aki. The real reason is not the account sharing thing, because you've done that. It's really the trust. And you did make an effort to show me that I could trust you. You weren't just out here like, yeah, we're going to have to share accounts and that's it. You understood that that was like a very sensitive topic, an area in my life. And I felt like you went above and beyond just making sure that, hey, if I'm requiring that of you, here is all what my accounts are doing.
I mean, you had access to everything and still have access to everything. We both have access to everything. So there's no, hiding. There's no lying. There's no deceptive, nature
don't have to
things.
Be that, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really glad that we are both on the same page when it comes to our resources.
Yes. And we had to get there. And so for people who are just starting out, who have different money styles, I would suggest that they begin to decide what the two of their money style, like when they become one, what money style is that? Because here's an example.
Yeah.
I want to get 3 quotes for everything. You may not be a 3-quarter person. And so now we have to decide, you're just like, yeah, we're going to get it, or we're going to do it ourselves or something. Right. And now we have to decide, how are we going to spend money when it comes to our household?
Yeah. That's why people have limits on how much can be spent.
Yeah.
And, when they can spend it, where they can spend it, who gets it. Do I just give money away to people and that's okay?
That's a very good topic about how you give money away, how you do charity.
Yeah.
I had a family member, Larry, and it was weird because he would give money away, but he couldn't pay his bills.
Yeah.
And it was a thing that he did because he wanted to help other people. He really, in his heart, I feel, wanted to help family members. He wanted to help people, but he didn't have money. He wouldn't handle the responsibilities he had at home. And it caused other family members. It was just like a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
And it was like, Larry, just keep your money for like 1 month. Or I know some people have that issue about their spouse giving money to charities, churches,
Or family.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
So you have to discuss that. And sometimes those limits or boundaries are not meant to control anybody.
No, especially if you have one household. Let's say you actually have one source of income where one person is working.
Yeah.
Then you definitely have to be on one accord when it comes to where your resources are going.
Right.
Because you want to make sure that the household is always taken care of first.
And what I liked about how we were coming together to make this new entity, and how it kind of made it better because it didn't feel like we were just doing everything you wanted to do or how you did it.
Yeah.
And you didn't feel like you're just doing
Everything you wanted to do.
right. We're actually saying, what is this new?
Yeah, we both are putting in input and getting something out of it.
Yes.
And that's what I like about this relationship, is that we're both putting in and getting out.
Yes. And with
we're contributing, and that to me feels great. It adds value to our relationship, and it adds value to a healthy relationship.
What do you think about men who just do not want to give women their access to any of their money?
It's funny that you said that, because we have a story when we were actually getting married. I don't know if you remember, there was a guy who...
Larry?
Yes, Larry.
Uh-huh.
There was a guy named Larry who he was asked about not just giving money to the woman who's going to be his wife, but he said, I got to share my money with her.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, you're becoming one. So why wouldn't you want to share your money with that person?
It's a very sensitive topic, and it's something that definitely needs to be discussed.
But I wouldn't marry somebody I couldn't share my money with. So that goes with the conversations that you have to have prior to marriage.
Some people just want you to give them, like if I just wanted you to give me your money,
See,
it doesn't matter. We don't have to share. I'll have my money and then you give me your money.
To me, that doesn't lean towards a healthy marital relationship.
Yeah, in long term.
Not long term.
No.
Because then someone's going to become angry, resentful, bitter, because I'm giving you things and you're just taking. When you're married to or dating a taker, it really doesn't feel good. So in my opinion, I want to be engaged with someone who is also giving back to me.
Yeah. Financially?
In all ways. Financially.
But you were, when we got together, I didn't want to work while I was raising kids. So I'm not giving to you financially.
But you weren't spending a lot of money. Your output wasn't extensive, you know.
And I was helping us save money, with childcare and things like that.
Oh, we saved a lot of money because you were home.
You really want to have that discussion, because also people could have gone through financial trauma. That's what I went through.
Yeah.
Along with all the other things. Now I am financially wiped out.
Yeah.
Even the sources of income that I had that were coming in were wiped out. So it's not just my savings, it was everything. And so if someone is going through something like that, the other person has to be compassionate and still stand their ground, though, about how money is going to be spent, because you don't want to make decisions based off of financial trauma.
Definitely not.
You don't want to say, well, now I'm only going to buy everything in cash, or I won't do it. So you could maybe have bought a house together or do something, but the person is like, no, I'm not going to do it. Or there's extreme situations around the money. So if anyone is dealing with financial trauma, you definitely want to heal from that and build trust with each other.
Well, one way a person can heal is by talking to their spouse or talking to their mate with it, because
You mean
about the financial things that they've gone through in their life, because you have to talk about that with the person that you're with so that both of you can have an understanding,
Yeah.
and then go forward from there.
And if you need a counselor just for money management, that does help.
Yes.
You don't have to do this all by yourself. I think for remarried couples, counseling, coaches, help is even more useful or more effective, because a lot of times in a remarriage, you're relearning new things or unlearning.
You're also learning things that you didn't get the first time.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you didn't understand how to handle your finances in your previous marriage, you can take classes, you can go to school, you can do YouTube, you can learn and hear and understand, the language of money, because money has a language of its own self.
There's some things that you can do. And I think though, when you're dealing with somebody else with it, that's where it gets a little tricky.
Money is tricky in and of itself when it comes to love and money, because you're talking to someone you love about money. Those are two things that are close to people's hearts. Mm-hmm. And so you want to have an understanding in both of those areas.
Yeah.
So growing in both areas will only help your relationship.
Right, because you don't want to get remarried again and go through money problems. And when I say money problems, I'm talking about self-inflicted money problems that you cause because of not knowing, not because there was a situation. I mean, anytime there's like a disaster or something that happens, that can cause havoc on everything. But we're talking about money problems because you're an overspender. You just are. You have no discipline in money. Cherry and I have talked about that, and she will spend money. She'll hide things that she spends.
Yeah.
One of her justification is to buy a lot of things and then give them away. And she feels like if she gives them away, then that makes her feel better about overspending. And then she'll tell her husband, I gave those away. And that goes with that charity. A lot of people can hide money issues with
justification
of giving.
Yeah.
I gave it away. I think that is so important, because if you hide things under giving, then you are kind of justifying your own money. What bringing your money together does is I don't feel like I'm just spending my money. I feel like I'm spending
our money.
Mm-hmm. Because people will spend their money the way they want to.
Yeah.
But I will be more responsible spending our money.
Yeah.
So some of the things or topics that people don't realize that come up in remarriage are, I'll read a couple for you.
Okay.
Any type of inheritance, or how you want to do estate planning for kids if you have blended families or new kid, however you want to do it.
Yeah. You want to make sure that there's an understanding where the funds are going to, because you may have children outside of the house and children inside of the house.
Right.
And who's going to get what? Who's going to get how much? The bottom line of what we're talking about is that know where you guys are going to allocate your funds.
Right. When you have kids in a blended family, sometimes this comes up where Larry said Cherry wanted him to give to her kids. And he was like, those kids need to be taken care of already. Where they're at is where their father left off or whatever. And that caused a big rift between them, because who is going to work for future allocation of college funds and things like that? Some men, from my understanding, don't want to take on all of that as well, and would like the woman to have already set that up for her children with the ex that she had.
Many times when you come together with your spouse, you're trying to have agreement with each other as to how that child is going to be taken care of. And the person who is not the biological child's parent doesn't necessarily have say-so of funds or college inheritance for the outside child, the child outside of the household.
That's a good point. In a blended family, you have to decide the children that are outside of that marriage, how much say and resources and funding will go to that child from the new marriage.
Yes. Hey guys, you are valued and appreciated regardless of what you're going through. We want you to know that you are not alone and we're here to support you.
Weigh in on this topic here on the podcast, or you can find us on YouTube at Remarried Love.